Hey, what's up, everybody? Wanted to come to you live here at the Agent Leads Studios and share with you um, not just three reasons that create failure in the professions and the careers of agents, but also want to shed some light on the industry because it's important to know that uh, we have facilitated over 40,000 individual um, consults with agents uh, all over North America. And when you have that many consults and you get your hands in between the muscle fibers of that many individual businesses, whether it's a team environment or you're an individual producer, we've done them all. And we've been inside the businesses. We've seen and heard patterns of success and patterns of failure. And so I wanted to call out the patterns of failure for you in this video so that you can protect yourself from those things. But I also want to call out, as I go, things that you can be doing or that you know you can put more time into because you know that they're going to bring fruit in your business. Okay, so that's my main goal here. So the first reason really why agents fail is because there is a lack of control over demand. Agents, when they get their license, they're just not equipped to succeed in a very competitive environment, a red ocean, if you will. Okay. You don't enter into an environment where there's very little competition and there's a whole lot of opportunity. Yeah, there's a ton of opportunity, but there's a ton of competition. And what ends up happening is because what creates this lack of control over demand is first and foremost low visibility. That is, the community doesn't know you are there. You're like an undercover agent, for lack of better words, okay? Quite literally, visibility. This is the brand aspect of your business, okay? That lack of visibility. Now, it's easy to underestimate this because you may have a sphere of influence, right? You may have a people may know you. I'm not saying that you're sheltered and you never go out of your house. What I'm saying is there's not enough visibility to create economics that last. And so you don't have enough family and friends. You don't have enough first and second degree warm connections. And so that visibility isn't built in. You've got to create that visibility. We'll talk more about that in a second. This lack of visibility also leads to really it leads to low lead generation outside your SOI, your sphere of influence. And why is that important? Well, like I said, your sphere of influence is limited and it's very hard to scale. It's not impossible to scale. As a matter of fact, the more you get into what I'm talking about today, the more your SOI will actually grow. But leads are the fuel for sales. I know that sounds self-evident and I know that sounds fundamental, but it's also something that most agents overlook and take for granted, and they think that it's going to fall out of the sky. And so not having an active lead generation program in place that you know how to control is what gives you control. Okay. Again, the main reason we're talking about here is the reason why agents fail is because there's a lack of control over demand. Lead generation allows you to have demand generation. Visibility gives you the opportunity to do better lead generation. Okay. This leads to And this again is going to sound pretty self-explanatory, but it leads to ineffective follow-up, because if you don't have enough visibility, if you don't have enough leads, then your follow-up is ineffective. Again, this you can't create enough economics. And so those three things prevent your ability to control demand, supply and demand, right? Remember capitalism, supply and demand, okay? If you can take control of demand, you can be a top producing agent, okay? Number two, just a general lack of savviness. What do I mean by that? And this isn't necessarily, this isn't a hit on any individual, but there's just not enough immersion into new fields or mediums of technology. And so the lion's share of agents that we consult with are overwhelmed with technology. They have a vast failure to launch, a failure to finish. Failure to launch and failure to finish is pretty bad. Agents are really good at the in-between, but getting started and finishing well on a new technology platform, and maybe it's not a new technology platform. It could be Facebook, it could be Instagram, it could be YouTube, it could be any social media, it could be a particular software or any system that permits you to scale or give you leverage in areas of impact in your business, right? There's also just a confusion over technology, a lot of overthinking and paralysis by analysis that prevents action from actually taking place. And that's a big deal when you're a self-promoter, when you're an individual producer, particularly if you are not taking action because you're analyzing it in a research mode. I mean, I can't tell you how many agents I've talked to who said, I'm just getting started, and they've been in the business for a year and a half, 2 years. Like, that's not just getting started. You started a year and a half ago. But it's because they have fear of failure and fear of missing out and fear of making the wrong decision. And the agents who are succeeding are the ones who are actually just taking a plunge into something new. And immersing themselves in a new platform. Here's a big one. There's a lack of awareness on how to handle online business, just overall. Just not understanding the difference between, for example, online leads and offline referral laydown leads. Like, that's just two galactically different conversations. And not knowing how to facilitate those. If you know how to facilitate an online conversation as well as you do an offline referral conversation, you're going to be hard to beat. And all of this leads to a lack, once again, of visibility. Going back up to point number one. So these are all connected. These three reasons aren't in a vacuum, siloed off from each other. The last one is a lack of sustainability. And this is really ultimately the reason why, or what leads to failure, is just not being able to stay in the game. I call it staying in the batter's box. You get stuck doing things that are one-to-one activity instead of one-to-many. So the one-to-one activity feels great in the moment, and that's, one-to-one activity might be door knocking, it might be cold calling, it might be one-to-one meetings, and those things are going to happen. And I'm not saying you have to eradicate those, but if you're depending on those to feed your mouth to bring in the 6-figure income, it's going to be really hard to achieve that. Okay. And you might be able to achieve it once, but can you sustain it long term? And that's what I'm saying, like sustainability. That's the reason why 87% of agents fail in the first 3 to 5 years. They might even get some success early on, but being able to hold that line for so long, it's hard to do. And so you've got to be able to do one-to-many activity. Because what happens is economics run out. Like I said, you might have some early economical wins. You get some early closings, you get some early referrals, friends and family, SOI, etc. But maybe your cold calling worked for a little while. Maybe your door knocking worked for a little while. But if you're not building a brand that's sustainable, if you're not building a digital moat around yourself and around your business, your economics just aren't going to be there. Like you've got to get to a point where your business brings in business without you having to stimulate every minute of functionality and activity. I hope that makes sense. Comment below if that makes sense, if this is helpful. I'm super, super interested in what your thoughts are on this. And then lastly, fatigue. Fatigue is just kind of like the slow death. You just kind of give up, you throw in the towel because this stuff is not sustainable, what you're doing. And all of this all of these are precursors to this. And then once you hit a wall, you're done. And you just literally can't go any further because the number one asset for agents are themselves. And if you can't, it's not just about, personal hygiene and like taking care of yourself. It's bigger than that. Like if you're literally not deploying yourself appropriately, you're not going to be able to create the economics. You're not going to be able to create the attention, the traffic. You're not going to be able to create the conversions, the conversations, the appointments, the contracts, the closings, which then create the money, the economics. And so this is just like, again, pattern recognition after spending, years coaching and speaking with real estate agents. This is it. Like if you can avoid these pitfalls, you can win big. And you might be thinking, well, Josh, this is all great, but how are you going to help me reverse this? How are you going to help me reverse course? Well, I would love to chat with you, or at least allow one of my success coaches to chat with you. And the way you can do that, because we want predictability, right? We want to achieve this thing right here. That right there. That's what allows you to keep going. And so what I want you to do is set up what I call a breakthrough session at predictableclosings.com. And what we do there is we walk you through our proprietary system where we talk about your current system and how to tailor that and how to tailor our system to your goals. Like, what are you doing currently? What's working? What's not working? And then we've got a social media, visibility, branding, video marketing, lead generation, follow-up machine that just works really well. And it leads to breakthrough. And we've got a ton of people who experience breakthrough daily in our program. And maybe our program is not a good fit for you, whatever, but you'll never know until we get to talk, because it's not a one size fits all situation, right? We take time. We do what we call this is actually really, really clutch. We do what we call a pipeline planning session. We know how to basically tell you how much you should be spending on ads, how much your leads should cost, what your closing conversion percentage could be. We give you clarity on the road ahead. We technically teach you what they don't teach you in the licensing course or in the local brokerages. And at minimum, in a 30 to 40 minute conversation, you're going to walk away with confidence to achieve your goals. And honestly, you're going to be able to set crystal clear goals, which is really one of the huge problems that I run into. I'm shocked at how inexact a lot of agents are with their goal setting. So go to predictableclosings.com. Let's chat and set up your breakthrough session. You can watch my video. My video is right here. I'm going to talk about how to close 5 to 10 deals per month. And I want you to just go to this big red button. And when you click on that big red button, you're going to go to this next page where you book a call. Super simple. When we have availability, and once you book that call, you'll go to a confirmation page. And on that confirmation page, I've got a video that walks you through, and you can actually see other case studies of agents who've gone before you who are now crushing it, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 deals a year. Starting out, for example, Miley started out with her license. She joined our program right when she became a licensed agent, and she's a mom of 4. No experience in sales, no prior experience in real estate, had 8 contracts in the first 6 weeks. And she did 12 deals the first year, did 40 deals the second year, 70 deals the third year. And she's just like you and me, right? Like, she's not a superhero. She's a superhero to her family. She's a superhero to her friends. And she's making a big impact in her local market. And we have dozens and dozens and dozens of case studies like that I want you to see. And so book a call, predictableclosings.com. And what we're going to do is what we call a breakthrough session. We're going to talk about your brand, talk about your visibility. We're going to talk about your pipeline, talk about the math. We're going to reverse engineer your goals. We're going to talk about your lead flow, and we're going to talk about what's working in follow-up. What exactly works in follow-up, and what doesn't, and what can you stop wasting your time on? So hope this is helpful. Hope this is enlightening for you, and I hope it's encouraging more than anything else so that you can know what to take action on. But the first thing you should take action on is jumping on a consult with me and my team as fast as you possibly can at predictableclosings.com. See ya.